with the latest video, I told you all I was going to make a point out an error of Jawbreakers, Lost Souls, or Jawbreakers in general, using Street Fighter 2, the greatest fighting game of all time. Alright, hey, commentators, thank you for coming back. So, hey, look, I'm sorry about the angle. I'll get a better angle next time. Because I want to shoot more from here. I haven't figured out the kinks. But hey. We got Street Fighter 2 here. I'm a M Bison guy. M Bison in the white and red is legit. So, Street Fighter gives us the example. Rounds out the thought that it's a Walt Disney philosophy. If you're an old guy in the back of the theater, you have poor eyesight, can you watch the movie? Can you listen to what's happening with poor eyesight and follow the action, follow the drama, follow the comedy? We achieve this by strong silhouettes, by easily being able to identify the characters. See, we know this is T-Hawk. We know this is T-Hawk in any color, any setting, just by his silhouette alone. And the same with M Bison. Jawbreakers just doesn't really do this. Going through Jawbreakers page by page doesn't really hit this home. It makes it a little bit confusing. It doesn't communicate everything we need it to. I think it just puts more pressure on the coloring to identify these characters. So even on the Jawbreakers cover, if it wasn't for the coloring, we would not know who's who. Here we go. We're one page in. If it wasn't for the coloring, we would not identify any of these characters. We have a silhouette. I don't know who's who. I should know who's who without any dialogue or any captions. It helps it a little bit more identifiable because of his hair. It just puts stress on who we're looking at. We're dealing with a constant silhouette problem. I would have liked to have been able to identify these characters a little bit easier. Even here, we really don't know the difference of anyone. We know it's Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange here has a clear silhouette, but the rest of the Jawbreakers, it's harder to tell. Knife Hand or Devil Dog. Big action panel here. Again, if these were all silhouettes, black and white, we really wouldn't be able to tell. Let's get into it, people. We're going to just crack this open, go through it. Jawbreakers, Lost Souls, nice spine. I love the back dressing. The 90s back are vengeance, as I said in my last video. I think this is hashtag lit. But let's just get into it. This is blank. One of my boys left a comment in the last video. Yeah, this should not be blank. This is a bad call. I love the insert, and I like that the insert for the signature is on nice paper. If this side being blank is just fine, it's perfectly fine to me. But I don't know why the signature could be here. Jawbreakers, Lost Souls. So this just reminds me of the Expendables logo. We can maybe throw that up somewhere real quick. This maybe could be a little bit bigger. Oh, look at Ethan's digital camo print here. Look at that detail. Wow. And here we go. We have the Jawbreakers defeating Godzilla, and they're pissing people off already by the dialogue. And we have the end of one adventure with the next adventure to begin. This is how every single Jawbreaker story should open. I love it. I love the idea that you can come in and you can tell this story. I would hire Mark Poulton to write this story right here. Hire Mark and get John to redraw it. Put together the team of Graveyard Shift. I love some of the humor in this. Silkworm here, when they're jumping into the water, he's asking Cuffs if he can swim. Moving on, this is what blew me away. This transition. You want to warm up? I know just the place. And boom, we just go right to Nigeria. This is all coloring. I get it. Only once in a while do I really appreciate or want a colorist to unleash onto a page, because I always feel like modern day coloring just takes away so much from the discipline of the pen, paper, brush. This just makes you hear music and you hear the engines. This is a sound effect. You know, I really do like Cuffs. Cuffs has become one of my favorite characters of all of the Jawbreakers. Damn. He comes in and he's like, damn. Now, we have a gag coming up. We have the team going through a marsh. And then they hear a heartbeat and boom, they're on. The giant gorilla's back. You know, like, this is a little bit hard to communicate only because they're so small here. Yeah. And then we have Knife Hand cutting the Achilles tendon. So this was a little bit hard to communicate. So one of the Jawbreakers gets like smashed into the eyeball. And so the eyeball's rolling. And they're inside, and it's a little tough to communicate. I kind of had to go back and forth when I first read that to really follow it. So we're hitting a problem now with a little bit where we are within the story. See, we're having powers. Characters are displaying powers, but we're not getting much caption. An introduction to the characters at this point, I think, would help me just follow it a little bit more. Even though the dialogue is very sharp, it's very good. It's you know exactly who everyone is, but I don't know their powers. I don't know a little bit of their background would have helped, and we could have done this through captions. Chris Claremont always used to do this with X-Men. It's a quick caption, explanation of the powers, and even some biographical like byline. But we're rolling. Here we go. Yo, boy, this I know this was coming. I don't know if this was like on the interwebs, but this really made me laugh. And we go here, like Faceball Special. This is glorious here. This panel here, this is the Authority. Okay, this is one of the reasons why I fell in love with the Authority so much when that book was hot, because it had this type of like sudden, epic scale superhero violence. Which is just non-existent nowadays. And then we have more with the love story. These two, you wanted them to stay together, to get together, to be together. And then boom. See, again, like, I'm not 100% on the power sets and what to expect from these guys. So they wrap up the gorilla, and then we have the intro of like villain obstacle number 2, which is a cyborg warlord. I love this shot. I love this guy. All this is just cool. Another hot babe. This is just again. What are we doing? We're bringing back the 90s, non-existent, and now in modern comics. And this is what the majority of the audience, I feel, wants to see. This is cool because let me just jump ahead here. I love that they just snapped the necks. I mean, these two guys are so savage. And let me just see, am I missing? So we have an introduction of the shaman. He's almost like gatekeeper from the X-Men. And there's a telecom bit. he works in telecom. This is one of the best bits of the entire book. I'm sorry guys, missed opportunity here. This shot, this sequence here is so well designed, well thought out. Bravo to Malin here. But this should have been more. I'm thinking of like Howard Chaykin, American Flag type of, or Chaykin Blackhawk. Chaykin Blackhawk would have done a little bit more with this. But either way, I love the sound effect. I love it that they just shred those guys. And blah, 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 blah. And we have a sentimental moment. And I wasn't expecting that in this. The sentimental moment in this is a complete home run. You feel it, and I would have been happy with this. Like this to me is as a first outing is amazing. All right, so maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit with the character tags and silhouettes. Is it really a thing? It 100% is a thing. It's a practice. It's something I look for. I just know as a reader, there's a subliminal communication that happens when you move through a story, when you move through artwork, that needs to be considered. It needs to be executed. But at this point, Jawbreakers is stuck with these silhouettes, or lack thereof, and lack of tags. Is the book doomed? No, it doesn't mean that the book is doomed. It doesn't mean anything other than what it is. It's just something to take note of. That's all.